Whatever, I'll deal.
Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. It is Michael and somewhere over here.
Jessica.
And if we, whoa, that brought the light in. I don't know what we did.
See?
So it's your colors. The blue is like the,
No, it's
yes.
that there's another body here, so the camera's adjusting to you.
I think you just brighten everything.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I was going to say that too.
So, but the fact is, on the green screen, different colors do have a different effect on lighting.
Green screen?
Well, the turquoise may be throwing off the camera light. So, because the turquoise is the same as the sky behind us. All right. Anyway, we're going to have fun.
Confusing people. They're going to think it's a green screen.
This is not a green screen. And if you see birds flying around behind us, that's not a green screen either, unless we've just timed it with the computer for maximum flyage. All right, so we've got some really fun stuff to talk about tonight, and now I've got to go switch screens here, so we're going to see how this works. We are outside. We haven't tried this since, before the fires last year. Well, last year we tried it right when we moved here, and YouTube Lives successfully blew up each time.
You know, it may have been Facebook Live. Anyway, we crashed and burned. And it took a year and a half of healing.
Licking the wounds. So, but tonight we're going to talk about how you can get the universe to work for you, and maybe in sooner than a year and a half. So with that said, oh man, I forgot to bring out, would you mind bringing out, he wears light blue. He's kind of warm and cuddly. So we've had house guests over the last few days, and it's been tremendous. I got a sore back earlier this summer, something that I'm working through. And one of our dear friends, David Berglund, is a kinesiologist. He specializes in hearing the body and muscle testing and learning what the body is telling him in order to help us to heal. And so he's been working with us for the last few days, and his beautiful wife, Kwa from China, has been going, bear, 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 show me the bear. And I put it out there to the universe for bear to appear. And a couple of days ago, driving home, I think from the farmer's market, a cub appeared at the end of the driveway up the hill for a very brief moment and then disappeared. So this would be a simulation of the cub appearing for a very brief moment.
The cub appearing. Okay, so it was on all fours.
No.
Begin.
It went like this at the end of the driveway. There's this. And then it went, and this, and then it went, and then it was gone. And so yesterday, David Kwa left, and then I came home from a run. And what I saw from in the house, forgive me, Bear, for doing this. What I saw from in the house out the window was bear butt. I saw a bear butt. And I immediately ran and got
protection.
Wrong on so many levels. No, I got you. And I said, Pokey. I said, there's a bear outside. And sure enough.
Did you say it like that?
Yes, I did. Okay. Because we had hippity in the cage inside, so I didn't want to scare the bird. And we came to the window and saw bear starting to tip over planters, bear then going after your lavender, at which point I went outside to, well, first we were knocking on the glass when he was going for the lavender, and then he started climbing up to knock down a bird feeder, of which a glass bird feeder, another bear had broken one of these.
I've never seen a bear climb a house.
And so the bear started climbing up the house. And we have this on our Facebook and Instagram page and stuff, climbing up. And then I went out and started talking to him, and he struck a pose, and then another pose, and then another pose.
He was like Kung Fu Panda, just hanging on to the side of the house with one paw.
Yep. And striking poses for us. And I got some good shots, and then he got a little scared of me, which is good. I'm more harmless than a teddy bear, but it's good that he's scared because we don't want him coming back, or more particularly, we love him coming back to us, but we don't want him coming back to people in general because he can get hurt or killed by animal protection as he becomes an adult. But the point is, we didn't chase the bear down. We set that intention And then Bear came to us. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, is how you can set that intention with the universe and not work harder, but let the universe, or in this case, Bear, chase you down. So before we do that, we've got 4 key things to go over. First off, we are in the beginning. We are 3 days into our... some sort of a challenge.
Oh, Instagram challenge.
Woohoo! We're 3 days into our Instagram challenge. 30 days of Instagram, bringing you all sorts of cool stuff. So if you go to Instagram, and it's Inspire Nation Live, sort of like this live event tonight, Inspire Nation Live, you can find all things Instagram-y from us. If you want even more connection with us, come on over to patreon.com, patreon.com/Inspire Nation. Become a Backstage Pass member. You support the show, and we are 100% supported by you, our audience. So we want to keep the roof over our head for ourselves and for bears. Well, okay, for ourselves anyway, and for kitty cats. So your support is needed. Come on over to patreon.com, patreon.com/Inspire Nation. Become a Backstage Pass member. We are one more step closer to iMeditations. It is just about ready. I know we said that last week and the week before. We are inching forward. We have 5 free meditations set up to give you starting some point, hopefully this week. We have somebody working with us on some final copy for you guys as well. And last but not least, if you want to get in for coaching for this fall now, then you want to sign up for a free one-on-one strategy session with me yesterday. All of our spots have been booked. I'm working to open some more up, I believe, for next week. I'm doing the best I can. So specifically, if you're interested in coaching with me, and I can really help shorten the curve on getting you where you want to go and getting you unstuck and finding that path and direction, then you need to sign up for a free strategy session with me yesterday. You can come on over to inspirenationshow.com/coaching to find out more about that. With that said, let's talk about all the goodness going on here and how we can have the universe working for us rather than us doing the hard work. And that's kind of the key to this tonight is, there's a philosophy among a lot of coaches that you must push, you must drive, you must strive, you must work as hard as you can to achieve your goals. And a lot of coaches, their system is accountability. That's good. But they want to help you to motivate you. I'll put that in quotes, to motivate you to try harder. As I tell all of my coaching clients, I don't believe in trying harder. I don't believe in trying smarter. All of that to me is like the ancient Greek myth of Sisyphus, a person who was condemned, I think, by Zeus to push a stone in Hades up a hill or a mountain all day long, every day for the rest of his existence. And if he stopped, it would come rolling back over him. That's the model, this very young masculine model of try harder and push. And I think push over time leaves you broken or worse.
Aww.
Poor Bear, we can resuscitate. 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, Bear is back. So what do we do with Bear? We don't try harder. Instead, we get in flow. We want to...
Oh, look. He's got a t-shirt with a...
Oh, this was completely unplanned. But
unplanned, though he's been wearing that t-shirt
sorry
for...
I'm holding you, Bear.
30-some years.
So we get in flow, just what these mice are doing here. And that's what I want to help you to do, is figure out how to get in flow so that you're not working harder. When you work harder, and I know Western culture thinks or espouses the value of it. Oh, I only got 4 hours of sleep. Oh, that's nothing. I only got 3 hours of sleep. Oh, that's nothing. I worked 22 hours last night. All that does is give us an early grave and makes us miserable. Instead, what we want to brag and boast about is how little work we did and how the universe chased us down. Okay, that sounds strange to have brag and boast on it, but the goal in life is to have more life. Yes, more learnings, more enjoyment, more expansion of consciousness, but that doesn't come from driving, striving, and pushing. Instead, it comes from figuring out our way into flow. So, an example of this is I love our automatic writing book, which we wrote in New Jersey once. We wrote in and
North
then
Carolina.
decided it wasn't quite there. We rewrote it from scratch. Very hard work in North Carolina twice. And then we got an editor involved and did basically a half reworking of the book from there. So 2.5 times. And each time I'm pushing, striving, and driving to get this out, trying to take time each morning in our busy schedule of running the show, of the lives, of the coaching, and really pushing with everything I had to get this done. Note, when you catch yourself pushing like this, you need to A, step on the gas pedal and go even harder. B, keep the gas pedal where it is and just hang in there. Or C, get the heck off of the throttle. And the correct answer is ding, 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 ding. C, never put the Pookie on the spot. The answer is get off of that throttle. And so I realized I was pushing too hard to get this book out, that there had to be a divine timing with it. And in fact, I went into automatic writing, ironic, it's an automatic writing book, about 1.5 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. And what I heard is, it's great that you were trying before, but now is not the time. Hang in there with the show. Keep doing the work with the show. And 2020 will be your year to write. Don't worry about it at all. Now, something that Pookie and I had talked about is, what is an easier way to write this book? Because we are putting so many hours into the show. And what I talked about, what Jessica really pushed with me, and what I really truly came to adopt, is the concept of what we need to do is have a ghostwriter or something almost akin to a transcriptionist that would interview me, write it up, and turn it into a book. And that's what you were pushing for, right?
Yep.
Pushing without pushing, but you were suggesting highly.
That's right.
So, and then fast forward about 1.5 months ago, Mitch Horowitz, who we absolutely love, come on the show. We talked to him afterwards. Next thing you know, a publisher has contacted us saying that he has a new way of writing books by interviewing people, transcribing them, taking out the best, turning it into a book, and basically doing exactly what we wanted, maybe even better than what we wanted. And we have a multi-book deal coming up. Woohoo! How does it get any better than this? We're going to be able to get you book after book, but without striving, driving, or in a sense trying. It doesn't mean we're not working hard. And it almost feels guilty to say not working hard. But when you are in flow, you still get to chop wood and carry water. I still get to be interviewed for this book, for instance, or books. But it is more in alignment. It doesn't feel like it's exhausting. It doesn't feel like you are trying to force the universe. What is forcing the universe? Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. To me, that can actually be forcing the universe.
How so?
Well, in Think and Grow Rich, you're taught or told that what you want to write down, according to Napoleon Hill, is whatever your top goals are, what you really want to accomplish in life. And then you want to carry them with you and read them day in and day out as kind of a reminder. Nothing necessarily wrong with that. But I believe reading it for rote, for one thing, takes the emotion out of it. And secondly, to me, that's almost kind of beating the universe over the head with a club.
Really?
Well, I like putting it out there.
And letting go.
And letting go. I'll write it again, but I want to write it following energy. So one day I might write about 2020 being book writing year. The next day I might talk about baby Hannah. The next day I may talk about having an amazing person to help us with YouTube uploads or things like that. But I want to follow that energy rather than club the universe with the same thing day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out.
Is there a harm to doing the day in, day out, day in, day out?
I believe if it is done with emotion, no harm at all. If the most important thing to you is, I want books out by 2020, and each day you write out books out by 2020, books out by 2020. And one thing I do almost every single day is 1 million people on YouTube. Because
I think the benefit of writing it out every day is reminding yourself that this is something that's high priority so that you keep focusing on it. Otherwise, it kind of ends up on the back burner.
I'm going to agree with you with a caveat.
Okay.
Which is it has to be emotion behind it. So If you write it out, Bear, we're going to put you to the side for a minute. Okay. If you write it out daily, but you lack emotion, I want 1 million people on YouTube. I really want to have my own business. I really want. What you're sending the universe is a message of rah, rah, rah. You're Debbie Downering. I want $1 million. Who knows when that's going to happen? But Michael and Jessica told me to just keep writing down that I
Oh,
want $1 million.
headache. Oh.
Yes, exactly. And the universe responds to that energy. If you're going, oh my God, I want $1 million. I want to be able to open a foundation to help people with scholarships and for kids and for people in need. I want to have an animal sanctuary. I want to use that $1 million to start our own Oprah network and transform the world and get our message out there. Yes, the woman in kind of Native American beautiful colors with the bear. The bear's name is?
Yes, Mr. W.
Along with Mr. W. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So some people,
Mhm.
like some of the viewers watching,
Yeah.
would argue that you shouldn't use the word want. That want is implying a state of lack,
Yes.
and you're reinforcing the lack mentality.
I hear you. And I hear you. And I have a very simple word for that. So forgive me. I don't mean to intend this to anybody who's listening to this, but hogwash. Yes, I'll say that again. Hogwash. I've had so many guests on the show talk about you don't want to say want, you don't want to say need, you don't want to say please, you don't want to say that you don't have it already. You need to say it as if it's already here. You need to say it as an expression of gratitude. It can't be an affirmation. It has to be an affirmation. It has to be a this, it has to be a that. And I say it doesn't matter. Yes, words are important. Yes, going back to is it John Locke and going back to the Puritans, I think they talked about the power of manifestation through the word. But it's not the word. Yes, in the beginning, I can hear. In the beginning, there was the word. In the beginning, there was the emotion before there even was the word. Emotion trumps everything. Why? Because of the energy involved. Now, yes, different words are imbued with different energy. It's why we do mantras. It's why you might do something like Om Mani Padme Hum without knowing even what it means, or even just chanting Om, because there is an energy behind it. But that's what we want to focus on, is the energy. So say it, want. It's a great prayer. I want this. I want a house in Basalt, Colorado.
Yeah, more important than the thing, the want,
Yes,
is the why behind the want, which helps you.
She just hit the nail on the head. Yes.
Which helps you drop the emotion.
Yes. So if you don't have, and this is Simon Sinek talked about it, Jay Papasan talked about it. He talked about it. Jay Papasan, the one thing, Simon Sinek, what's your why, I believe it is. If you don't have a why. So a lot of spiritual authors talk about having retreats for people making money. It's something we do as well. And people come to these retreats and they say, okay, who here wants $1 million to make $1 million? Everybody's hand goes up. And they go, who here has already done it? Everybody's hand goes down. And then comes the big question. Why do you want $1 million? Well, I want a better car. I want a better house. I want a blah, 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 blah. But what has the emotion behind it? Well, I want $1 million because my daughter is on dialysis or something. And the only chance of her getting better is for us to find a way to get a replacement kidney. We don't have the insurance. We need the $1 million. That person is on fire to get $1 million. They're going to find a way. Why do you want $1 million? Well, because I've started a foundation for the homeless or for kids in the area, or maybe as a child, you struggled. I think my dad had scarlet fever and you don't want anybody else to get scarlet fever. That may be a why. And it doesn't even have to be, quote, altruistic. Your why could be, well, heck, I want $1 million because what I want to do is travel the world, and I love travel more than anything. If there is a strong enough why, if the emotion is great enough, you will find a way. I take that, taking a giant stone of attention and throwing it in the pond of intention. You need to have a very strong focus, a very strong focal point, a very strong attention to throw it in the pond of intention, and for there to be massive ripples to take place. You need your why. Anything else you wanted to share about that?
No. So when I'm typing, I've tuned you out. I have no idea what you just said.
So we were talking about the why. We were talking about
Yes.
having a focal point, a reason, like a raison d'etre, a reason of being. Like I was saying with people, if you had a daughter, for instance, who you didn't have health insurance, daughter's on dialysis, needs a kidney, then that $1 million is a very strong why for you. If you're just saying, oh, I want $1 million, I don't want to have to work, that may not be such a strong why. On the other hand, I have a coaching client who made millions of dollars with cryptocurrencies because her why was, I want to be free more than anything else in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And she studied, learned, and found a way because that why was burning bright inside her. Do we have questions? So I set this up today so that we'd be more question oriented. So I just want to reaffirm, ask yourself, when you're striving, I'll put that in quotes, toward a goal, does this feel light? Does this feel heavy? If it feels heavy, you're pushing a giant stone uphill, and there's probably a different way. You get to back off. You got to go more into the intention, more into feeling it out. Also realizing there's a concept called prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is your contract that you came into this world. If you're not in alignment with your contract, it won't take place. Before I met you, I was saying, I'm going to Japan, I'm going to Japan, I'm going to Japan, I'm going to Japan, going. Even had a Japanese fiance, Japanese girlfriend. It was all going to Japan. Everything blew up on me. Why? It wasn't my path. I wasn't supposed to go to Japan, or at least not in the way that I planned on. Didn't mean I was doing anything wrong. Didn't mean I wasn't one practicing the law of attraction. It didn't mean I had a strong attention or intention, but it wasn't my path. So when you're pushing that stone uphill, it's important to get back off of the gas. Say, is this heavy? Is this light? And if it's heavy, say, do I need to pause? Do I need to go a different direction? And I think there's in the pause and being able to stop and then say, what's the universe trying to tell me? In fact, what happened to us in Maui the last year or two that required us to pause?
Well, I got very sick with mold toxicity. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of black mold in our house.
And what was the universe trying to tell us?
Well, for me, I was working way too hard. I totally lost focus, and I would say it was even like neurotic. Like I wasn't really right in the head. Well, it could have been the mold too. But yeah, I was fear driven as well. Mm-hmm. And so that just kept me driving. And I had tunnel vision. Yeah. And there was actually comfort though in the driving, because it was the way I operated my entire life. I learned how to work very hard when I was young in school, studying really hard. I would ground myself on weekends to study for the SATs, which was insane and sad because I could have had a lot more fun.
I lost half of 8th grade that way, trying to get into high school, grounding myself for a school that I later quit and went running, kicking, and screaming from.
Yeah, so it is interesting to look at, like, what are you really familiar with and comfortable with that isn't actually serving you? Because even now, like, even though I'll get headaches from being from the computer too long, it feels so natural for me to just be working around the clock. I can fall back into that because it's comfortable, it's familiar. I think my subconscious thinks that it knows what the outcome is if I just drive myself.
You're in control. If you're doing everything you can. I'll put that in quotes.
And it succeeded. It worked for the first half of my life. Mm-hmm. But it definitely does not work anymore.
So, and work is a relative term. Who knows where you would be if we had gone another approach from earlier on, when we meet youngins, so to speak. We want to impart as much knowledge as we can, as quickly as we can, so that they don't have to learn the same way that we have learned. They don't have to push as hard. And it's so fascinating that you use comfort, because this doesn't even come from us. This comes from our parents. This comes from teachers. It comes from well-meaning mentors in our life, and maybe even some not so well-meaning ones. And it even comes from before we existed on this plane, in our parents' DNA, in their parents' DNA, this Protestant work ethic, or this work ethic from the industrial age that says we are continuously needing to change dollars for hours, and we need to work as hard as we possibly can. But when we work as hard as we can, we don't give the universe the opportunity to chase us down and for us to hear what's most important. So on Maui, when Jessica started getting very sick, she's working in the chat room right now. When Jessica started getting very sick, it wasn't until the final days of really being kicked off Maui that we started walking on the beach and asking what's going on. And it wasn't until we were home in New Jersey that I was fully diving into automatic writing. Shameless plug, automaticwriting.com. Can't recommend it enough. A process of quieting the mind and hearing from the inside, that we started backing off and really starting to listen. So when we got down to North Carolina, fast forwarding, we went from Maui, Jessica very sick. We went to New Jersey, Jessica got better. We got to North Carolina. Guess what? Black mold. Jessica started getting sick again. Instead of pushing and driving and striving, we got the heck off of the gas and said, we are not going to push. We're going to take long walks on the beach. We're going to listen. We're going to take meditation time. We're going to listen. We're going to go to automatic writing each and every morning and listen. But we will take time to pause rather than push and try to get this thing forward. Who knows? Maybe we needed to go a different direction. For instance, I needed to pause in the book. Maybe we needed to do something different with the show. We did a lot of pivots. Maybe we needed to do different things with coaching. When we are in that comfort zone of driving as hard as we can, we don't have to step back and look at what's going on. We can use the excuse, I'll put that in quotes, this is without judgment, that I'm sorry, I don't have time to pause. I need to get X, Y, or Z done. All of us, even with a daily show, have time to pause. And if you truly don't have time to pause, re-engineer your life and ask for help. Because the only way forward is not to beat your head against a steel wall. It's to step back and see the opening or find a different way to go.
We have a couple questions from the chat room.
All right, let's do that. And I want to see what our camera, I've been hiding it. Oh, we're looking a little bit brighter now. Us and Mr. W.
Okay, our first question is from Haken.
Yeah.
I hope I pronounced that correctly. So what you were saying is that we all have a pre-designated path in life, because you talked about karma.
Brilliant question. Haken, I believe we all have a predetermined learning in life, different from a path. I don't believe that there's one path, and that so many people come to me stressed out saying, I don't know what my path is. I don't know what my exact purpose is. You don't have to stress. You don't have to worry. There are many things, many directions for you to go this lifetime. But we all came here to learn, to expand, to grow, and to evolve. Basically, we are expanding as consciousness are expanding, and we as consciousness are expanding. So you don't have to sweat the details of this is why one specific path. And there is not like to me anyway, a belief that life is completely predetermined. There is no free will. There are no decisions that we get to make. And so what's the point? I believe that we can have universe, or we can have life the easy way or the hard way. The hard way, we're going to still get the same lessons, but they may come to us with cosmic knocks over the head with a 2x4. In my case, it meant broken bones. In somebody else's case, like Jessica's.
Sorry. I'm trying to see if the bear will fix the lighting. It worked. But then you can't see the mountain in the background.
You can't see the mountain. So in my case, it's 2x4s that give me kind of steering correction. In Jessica's case, it was getting sick that kind of gave her steering in direction. I'm not sure what it is for Mr. W. For some people, it may be divorce, it may be losing a job. All of these things are guidance to get us back in a general path, the general path for our highest good and the highest good of all. But it doesn't mean that you don't have a decision whether to go to Disney World, Disneyland, India, or wherever. That's completely up to you. I look at it in one sense. I had an amazing dog, Sawa, who became my service dog. She was with me for 16 and a half years. And in her first year of life, she was raised by a hunting family that only wanted her to go to a hunting family. She was a hunting dog. And she was attached to a steel cable lead where she had about 50 feet or 50 yards that she could run up and down this cable all day long. Tiny little doghouse, in theory, to prevent the Colorado rain and hailstorms. She was so freaked out by thunder and lightning. But she could only run up and down this cable. Now, she had a collar attached to herself with a chain that went to this cable. And that was about, 10 feet long or so. So if she ran up and down the cable, it's kind of our journey in life, she could do that with no resistance. If she went to the side after about 10 feet, look, it would yank her by the neck and pull her back onto the path. That is until I rescued her, thank God. And that to me is analogous of life. We can run up and down this cable, which is called getting in flow, finding the easy path. Easy doesn't mean work. Don't worry. If you want to build, if you want to create, you can still do that. But a path of lightness, of least resistance by following this cable. Or you can pull to the side like heck. This is Sisyphus rolling a stone uphill. You will still go to that same path, but it will be much harder. Now, what if you check out early? Well, maybe that was your path. Maybe that was the learning for you to get, or maybe you get to come back and try it again, which is why I'm never in favor of that path, and I don't take that lightly. But the point is, we all will be given opportunities to learn these lessons in life. When we go with flow, they may come easier, or honestly, Haka, they may not come easy, depending on what's necessary for our growth. I've got twin titanium femurs, twin titanium hips from 2 near-death experiences. The second one I was out of alignment for, but because it is so symmetrical in a sense now, I'm not convinced that that wasn't my path no matter what, that I had to learn some powerful lessons.
Well, after you were airlifted, like moments after you were airlifted, I actually felt comforted knowing that it was the same exact accident on the other leg, because I thought, what are the chances? There must be some reason for this. And I had this knowing that everything would work out okay. It was temporary though, because once you were in surgery and the surgeon, or maybe it was the anesthesiologist, somebody came out and asked if I would give permission for you to have blood transfusions, and that this surgery was going to take twice as long because it was worse than expected. Then I panicked again.
I'm so sorry, Pookie.
For a brief hour or two, I was feeling like life is good. Everything's going to work out.
and I truly believe that it was meant to happen. But there are oftentimes kinder, gentler ways. And I did renegotiate my contract. I went into prayer. I went into automatic writing. I think I even had a shaman come out and did ceremony to say, all right, my path is to learn these certain lessons, but maybe it doesn't need to be so difficult.
Actually, you had an appointment with a psychic medium based in San Francisco, and she helped you rewrite that contract.
Yeah, that was very important, because you can still get the learnings, but you can get them the easy way or the hard way. And that's what we're talking about today, is let's get you in flow to learn the lessons the easiest way possible.
Check out early is check out.
Oh, check out early is meaning if you kill yourself, if you take yourself out, are you still getting the lessons, or did you kind of violate the contract? And that may have been your path, but I believe most times you probably get to come back and see if you can get those same learnings.
I think you got to be camera close.
All right. I can be
all right.
Camera close.
Our next question is from Eco Hiker.
Yeah.
It was a great question. Please talk about heart coherence with regard to emotion, intention, and attention. Thank you. Love you too.
Okay. So please talk about, I can read this over here, heart coherence with regard to emotion, intention, and attention. Let's see how we can draw this all together, Eco Hiker. And this is a brilliant, brilliant question. Heart coherence is a term used from HeartMath Institute, which is just phenomenal for the research they've done on the heart and the magnetic field around the heart, and how focusing on the heart, breathing in and out through the heart, can get you into this special sacred space. We don't even have to call it special and sacred. Can get you into state of heart coherence, having to do with heart rate variability, where you're in more of a theta brainwave state, could even go into a delta or a delta gamma brainwave state, but you're in these brainwave states where you're more, we'll say, connected to the universe, which gets into a whole nother can of worms, because we're never not connected to the universe, but we are more in alignment with our heart and open to receive. I do believe that in these states, it is easier to create, and it is easier to hear the universe as well. So when I'm doing my automatic writing, when I teach people to do automatic writing, I'm getting them into a theta brainwave state. I'm helping them to breathe in and out through the heart, so that they quiet the mind, so that they drop down, so they can hear what the heart has to say, and they can really crank up that emotion, which is that attention, focusing on what the intention is. Now, it's interesting, for the last year until just a couple months ago, I was using a device from HeartMath on a daily basis. Absolutely loved it. I think I wore it out is the best way to describe it. And I miss it. I miss it.
How is your ear?
So the plastic cover came off of this thing, clear plastic cover, and I couldn't tell. Still putting it on my ear, and it felt like just a little bit more of a pinch or a burn. It turns out there's a laser inside that measures your heart coherence, or so I'm told, and the laser was lasering through my ears, which got welts that took about 6 weeks. Wow.
Those are the studio lights that we brought out that weren't working, and now they might not work inside either. I mean, they were working, they were functioning, but
okay.
they were too diffuse.
Everything in life happens for a reason. So you're in a state of heart coherence
but
right
look,
now.
it's fixing the lighting.
How does it get any better?
I manifested
than
that?
it. I love it. I love it. You got to get TV close. So doing heart coherence when you do your intention work, I think, is phenomenal. Is it required? No. Does it help? Yes. Does it help quiet the mind? Yes. Is focusing on your breath one of the greatest things in the world that you can do? Absolutely. I'm excited. I haven't read his book yet, but we have Wim Hof on the show next week. And we're going to talk about, he's the Iceman. We're going to talk about all things breath related. But can't recommend doing heart coherence work enough. And I guess I'm an influencer these days. I need to talk with Garmin about this. I wear a Garmin Vivo Active 3. No, I am not sponsored by Garmin, but it shows me my stress levels. And when I was doing heart coherence, those stress levels were going down and down and down. And you can, if we take that to today's topic, when your stress levels are down, your resistance to manifestation is down. Because is it easier to manifest when we're saying, bear, universe, I'd love a bear to visit. Oh, it would be so much fun, a cute and cuddly bear. Oh, it feels so great. Or, oh my God, I'm really concerned about today. I'm not sure what's going on with my business, bear. I'm not sure what to do today, but I'd really like bear. I'm feeling really... Manifesting from a place of anxiety doesn't work very well. Manifesting from getting into that heart space makes a tremendous difference. You look like you have something to add.
Well, I'm just wondering, I mean, a lot of the times I find that people who are trying to manifest the most are the people who are in the most dire situations. Like, I know a lot of the viewers have health issues. And so when you're in pain or discomfort, or you're experiencing anxiety, how do you get out of that place to be able to be where you're talking about?
So I would put in place a meditation each and every morning, even when you're in pain. I would do automatic writing each morning, even if you're in pain. Automatic writing is a journaling process, which you're basically in prayer. And to me, when you're in pain, when you're stressed, when you're struggling, prayer is the number one thing that you can do. Give it, I mean, there's a reason you go to a 10-step program, you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, any of these things, give it up to a higher power. You don't have to label it God, source, universe, inner wisdom, whatever you want to call it. I joke, giant cheeseburger in the sky, but give it up to a higher power and saying, I can't do this on my own. I'm stressed out. I'm messed up. I really need help. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. I give it to you. That can help you so that you're not going it alone and you can start to get those stress levels down. Now, when somebody works with me in coaching, I'm going to do EFT tapping. I'm going to do other processes of removing some of that stress and anxiety, because if you have that dark cloud over you, this is without judgment. There's nothing wrong with you if you have this dark cloud over you, but it's hard to manifest in that place. And so it may not be going to law of attraction work or intention work or manifestation work. It's going to how can we get you lighter, which means that the way forward may actually be to step back, or the fastest way forward may be to get off of the gas pedal.
I'm adjusting the window here so that we can see the chat window without me having to look over here.
Very, very good. I like it. All right. Well, I'm going to give it back to you. And a brilliant, brilliant question.
So I'm wondering, so like 6 years ago, we were on Maui and we created a vision board or a dream board.
Yeah.
And actually several. On one of them was a mountain home with trails out our backyard.
Yeah.
And this is it.
Woohoo!
What about when people want to manifest something immediately? Can we control time, or do we have to let that go and let universe or our higher selves control time?
It's an excellent question. Some people seem to be magical manifestors, much better than others. But I think even a magical manifestor, somebody really good at what I call alchemy, or getting on the other side of the veil, really inside, but I describe it as going up and above, I believe they're actually the best at letting go. The more that we push for something, you know, they say what you resist persists. Well, I think what you chase stays away from you. And so the more you want it, the more we get to back off. Now, that does not mean taking steps forward, but it means shifting the energy around it. You may take a lot of steps forward. For instance, when we had our barefoot running book and sales were shut off by Amazon. And I can't do this. I've got to move this up because it's hurting my back, and I'm trying to squish myself to stay in there. I'm sorry, Pookie.
Well, you were down there, so I moved the camera down.
So we needed to find a way to sell the rights to our book, or we were going out of business. And at that point, we couldn't go to a state of panic or desperation. But you were coaching me through this. You got to understand, she's my coach. She's awesome. And
I've never heard you admit that.
What, that you're awesome, or that you're my coach?
No, you're coach.
Oh, I tell it to my coaching clients all the time. I say, everybody needs a coach. You're my coach.
Can I fire you as a client?
I don't even know where to go with that.
Do you think of yourself as my coach?
What's that? No, there's no way in hell you'd let me be your coach on a regular basis. We have tried that a couple of times.
Yeah, we did. We actually tried to do that officially. We had sessions in the calendar, but somehow they weren't happening, even though they were in the calendar. Why is that?
Guilty as charged. We can try that again if you'd like, Pookie.
No.
Can you bring me back to where we are here?
I was talking about time.
So, coach, you as my coach, you were telling me specifically, I was saying, oh my God, what are we going to do? It takes years to get an agent. It takes years to get to be able to get a book deal. Basically, I was giving very linear reasons, very fear-based reasons. Sorry, she's playing with a light camera, and it looks like it might clock us if the wind comes just right.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I was giving very fear or head-based reasons why this wasn't going to work. And in her coaching wisdom, she was telling me, not only did the proverbial God create the earth in 7 days and something in 40 days, but you were saying that if you believe in it, you don't need to have years to get a book deal. This can happen very, very quickly. I don't remember exactly what you said. Do you remember what you said? You don't have to. But
Well, I have a tendency to be critical.
We're working on this one.
And you may have said something, and then I may have said, well, that's a limiting belief.
Yes. Well, that's something that you tell me all the time.
Yeah.
Is you're always challenging me. And so now I challenge a lot of my coaching clients on this. And what I always say is, well, what Jessica would say to me about such a thing, so that I'm nice and kind and gentle with my coaching clients, is that may be a limiting belief.
Right. And the way this house came about, it's not that we were actively thinking about it for 5 years. It was like, oh, we're here. And oh, I found these old whiteboards with our vision boards. Hey, the house is on the vision board.
Awesome.
So we put it out there, and then we let it go, and we actually forgot about it. Maybe that's why it took 5 years.
It could be because we weren't thinking about it daily. Now, going back to our book deal, we were thinking about it daily. I didn't want to approach it from a place of lack. I wanted to approach it from a place of love. I had a prior book deal that wasn't so great, but I knew some about the book industry. We reached out to what we considered some top agents. We did our homework, but we did it from a place of love and light. All of it we didn't do from a place of panic. It was so important, from a place of love and light. And
I just wanted to say that there was a period of panic.
Oh, there was.
There was.
Let's follow the timeline. There was the oh crap, followed by panic, followed by
meltdowns,
more panic,
crying, curling up in fetal position. What are we gonna do?
Anything but selling the book. Don't make me sell the book, Pookie. My life is over. Attachment, 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 attachment. Holding on. And then
we had to take action immediately because we were running out of money.
And so there was a I surrenderedness. And that's actually a big theme here. Something Tosha Silver talks a lot about in Divine Oneness, if I'm probably getting that wrong, but
are we talking about a book title?
Well, one of her book titles.
Oh, it'll come to me. Right now, it's stuck on Divine Oneness, which it's not.
So anyway, she's an author who talks a lot about the importance, the power of surrender. And so we were surrendering, going, all right, God, source, universe, I give, we got to do something, and we've got to do something fast. And it was, we've got to sell the rights to the book. And it was, so then at that point, we said, step number 1 is we got to find an agent.
Yep, a literary agent.
And so we literally went to like Barnes and Noble.
Oh yeah, we were looking at the thank yous. What do you call them?
Acknowledgements.
Yes, acknowledgements. In the back of the book or the front of the book. And first of all, if the author thanked their literary agent, which wasn't always the case, that was a very good sign.
Yep.
And then we went on Google. Yep. And started Googling these agents.
I did. And then I found a list of top agents. I found ways to get in touch with everybody. And I reached out, and coming from a place of love and light and writing something very special for this pitch, so to speak. And it wasn't a formal pitch. It was much shorter. It wasn't a book proposal. It wasn't any of this stuff. And we had agent after agent.
No, you were writing from the heart.
Yeah.
And they were really good. You were on fire. You were definitely in alignment. His writing is not always that way.
This is true.
Sometimes it makes me want to barf.
Never have your spouse edit your books. Why? Because your voice will get in their head.
Oh, his voice is already in my head. He talks a lot.
And that can be a opportunity.
A learning opportunity, yeah.
So reached out to agents. Many agents said yes. One of the top agents actually reached out to us, and a very dear woman. We didn't work with her though because she didn't feel in alignment.
We weren't.
You probably don't want to work
Or,
with them.
I mean, it just makes it a little bit more challenging. There's less flow, less resonance. So,
But what you're saying is don't necessarily negate them because they may be the best person for the job, even if they're socially not ready for, oh, please don't give me a hug.
yeah,
I will
they
agree
might
with
be
that.
wounded.
I would agree with that. So we ended up finding just the right agent, stars aligned, planets aligned, all these connections to Taos, which we were, I guess, had just moved to.
Sorry, somebody thought this was a puppet show. There was a little bear movement in the beginning of the show, but
so I guess
taking a back seat.
Now, is this Don serious that he thinks it's a puppet show and he's out
I
of here?
don't know.
Maybe.
Sorry.
Actually, maybe we should try a puppet show. I think that'd actually be really, really cool.
Okay. Right now?
So let's talk about the law of attraction.
I don't think your mouth's supposed to move.
Let's talk about the law of attraction. Okay. Anyway, within 10 days, we had an agent. Within 30 days, I'd gone from teaching at Kripalu to going stomping the streets of New York City and having a 10 publisher, barefoot that is. Keep that down. 10.
He's not wearing underwear.
That's why we had a 10 publisher book bidding war, completely unheard of, because we didn't stay in that place of panic, but instead went to a place of what's possible, where's the love, what feels light, prayer, intention, emotion, positive emotion, and a key one. So whenever you hear about the law of attraction, they talk about, sitting back on the couch, holding the hands of the steering wheel, and that's it. That's also hogwash. But you get to step
What does
forward.
Dan Locke say about shoelaces?
Well, oh yes. When it comes, Dan Locke, who is a brilliant author, we had him on the show. In many ways, he's often talking about what millionaires and billionaires know that others don't. And he talks about the law of attraction being the shoelaces when it comes to a marathon. Yes, you need to tie up your shoes. That's the law of attraction. But you also get to do the run. You get to step forward. Or as I like to call it, you still get to chop wood and carry water. But it worked. And we got out of that place of panic. So if you're in that place of panic, a lot of your work to do is to get out of that. How do we get out of it? Go to prayer. Give it up to a higher power. Do whatever you can to relax, calm down. Does this mean expand? What are you meaning by this?
Backstroke.
Get into the backstroke. Yes. Step back to go forward. As our first back cover, I think, of our first copy of Barefoot Running said, with the philosophy of go slow to go fast. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of what we're talking about today. All right. Do we have a few more questions here?
Sammy writes, any new books to share on business and inspirational books? He's the future trillionaire of Mumbai. I
like it, Sammy. Any additional books on billionaire, trillionaire? I would read Dan Locke's book. Dan Locke has a new book out in October.
Right, I mentioned that, called Unlock It.
Okay, I think that would be fantastic. You've been reading a few interesting books. Any of those that you would recommend? This is more in the nuts and bolts of things.
I wouldn't call them inspirational.
Okay. Inspirational when it comes to money is certainly Happy Money, which we've mentioned before.
Happy Money.
By his name will come to me in a minute.
I think we mentioned him in
we did mention him in the last one. On top of that, not that is coming to me at this moment. But
okay, we'll move on to the next question.
Okay.
So the book deal was meant to be, you mean, and you got to the situation by working towards the goal without panic. No, he didn't really work for it. I mean, it helps that that Michael's had this track record with all these interviews, these podcasts and YouTube interviews, so that the content is already there. But to actually get the book deal, it was 3 phone calls. Yeah.
Max 3 phone calls. So if we're talking about the more recent book deal, I put it out there. I wrote about it a lot, but not every day. But I wrote about it a lot is I'm very excited for the books in 2020, and between you and me and everybody listening. And what I say is New York Times bestseller after bestseller. I want to see these things take off. But then I let go of the attachment to them. And I wrote about other things that were important to me.
And there wasn't panic, because if we didn't have this book deal, we'd be fine. We're already content with the status quo. It's kind of like the cherry on top of the.
And to me, there was an inevitability. It was coming, period. I don't know when, but it is coming. Now, going back to our book deal with Barefoot Running and Barefoot Walking, once I got that first letter out there, I overcame my panic first, and then overcame my fear, which was oh crap, this is scary. I'm going to do it anyway. And there's a difference. Let's clarify here. So when I talk about hard, and hard versus easy, light versus dark, or light versus heavy, rather, even better. What I'm not talking about is what's the direction of no fear, which is an important distinction. I think many of the best and most important things we do in life come with a lot of fear. Even this, since things had blown up on us the last time we tried this almost a year and a half ago, I'm going, you're going to do what today, Pookie? We're going to do this outside?
Yeah. And as you can see, the lighting's constantly changing. So there's a lot of room for improvement.
I'm thinking around the corner next time.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, with the tree in the background.
Exactly. And because it won't have the direct sun, it won't have that illumination factor or that backlit. But you step forward, lean into that fear, go, okay, this is scary, but it feels right. Scary and feels right can go hand in hand. See, we're confused since we were kids, so that we are afraid of what actually excites us. We get it's a very blurry distinction between the two. In fact, I like to say that fear and anxiety are excitement without deliberate action. When you lean forward, when I started writing those letters to the agents, I felt much, much better. And then from there was a sense of inevitability. Once people picked up on it, I'm like, oh, this is working out. We've got a book deal. We'll see how great of a book deal, not even good, how great of a book deal it is. But this is absolutely going to work out. And when we met with all of these publishers, I tromped the streets of New York City barefoot with my agent, who took off her shoes as well. I love you, Stephanie. And it was so, 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 so cool. I brought with me a positive energy to each one of the publishers. I let that fear go. I let that grasping or holding on to. And between you and me, I was still afraid in each one of those. You're in New York City, you're meeting with some hard-nosed editors who are going to say, well, what about this and what about that? And so you go, all right, there's some fear, there's some discomfort. I'm going to lean forward into it anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think you're very passionate about what you do.
Yes.
And so when you just tap into that, you ignite everybody else around you.
I think we all have that. We all have that. Now, we will not all be woohoo people, as somebody wrote me a few days ago and said, we only need one woohoo person. You don't need to be woohoo with your energy, although it's kind of cool if it works for you. You just crank your light to the max, whatever that works for you in your own way, because we're all unique. We all have different ways of doing this. But when you tap into that energy, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I hear Neil Diamond saying about tap into your heart light, from E.T. He was singing the song about your heart light.
Oh.
When you tap into that heart light, you are an attraction magnet to everyone and everything around you. Next question, or
Yes. It was Ken Honda. Thank you,
yes.
Archana. And Ken Honda, I believe, is living in Japan.
Yep.
Correct. Okay. But his books are translated into English, of course. Lori writes, reading the books and interviewing the authors is part of what you do to chop wood and carry water. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So it'd be, one thing to say, I want to have a great interview. I want to have a great interview. And then just turn on the mic and go, but I didn't do any of the homework. Well, maybe the universe is going to turn on your heart light. Thank you, Lori. Maybe the universe is going to bring it to me. But much better if I actually find out what the book is, read the book, organize it, structure it, highlight the questions, write an intro.
Run the marathon.
Bingo. Couldn't put it better. But I have certainly put out that energy as well.
So Haken writes, would you recommend to do one scary thing every day?
Yes, Haken. Because the more scary things that you do, and I'm not talking about needing to be an adrenaline junkie or grab your squirrel suit and jump off of cliffs, but the more that you challenge yourself to do, we'll even call it, rather than scary thing, Hakan, we'll call it do one thing that's outside of your norm or outside of your comfort zone on a daily basis. That alone right there will start to help you to expand out of your comfort zone, to grow your confidence muscles, and allow you to make some very powerful pivots in life. So I think we have time for one or two more questions. I want to point out something to you. I'll point it out on the air. We crossed the 1 hour mark, and immediately the numbers took a nosedive.
I saw that, and I wondered if maybe it's because we started answering questions and not everybody sticks around for the questions.
No. I watched the questions go up quite a bit from this. So it's a fascinating learning. Now, what does that mean as far as leaning in and manifestation? But more
what are you trying to manifest?
I'm trying to manifest 1 million people on our YouTube channel. So subscribe. You'll find out about more events. Turn on the notification. That notification bell right there lets you know when anything good from us, and not so good, when any goodness from us is coming your way. All right, time for one or two more questions. Oh, go for it.
I know we were talking about words and not getting too caught up in words, but it's funny, I have to use the word to talk about the word that I don't want to use, which is try. I try not to use the word trying.
Yes. And did I use the word try just there?
Yes, you said you were trying, or maybe I asked it, but you said you were trying to manifest.
Oh.
But I think I asked, what are you trying to manifest?
Okay. But that is a good point. Very much in the spirit of Yoda, there is no try, only do. There is no try, only do. That was terrible. But we'll watch the numbers precipitously decline here. But don't say, I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to get to sleep earlier. I'm going to try to manifest a new job. No, just do it. Go to bed earlier. Work on manifesting a job. It may take a little time. It may take a long time. Just do what you can. And that is by far good enough. Bless you.
I have a question.
Go for it.
I may have sneezed it out.
Da 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 da.
Okay. How do you know when? Okay, so I was thinking about the books and manifesting the book deal, but I've also felt like I've always assumed that books were coming, that a book deal or many book deals would be coming. I always just knew that it was in your field or our field. So how much of it was manifesting? How much of it was just this intuitive knowing that it was always in the divine plan?
It's a great question. A lot of manifestation may be getting out of our own way and allow the universe to bring us things. So, for instance, if I'm afraid of a book deal, if I'm not believing it's possible, then maybe a Mitch reaches out to me and I don't take action on it, or forgive me here, trying to get comfortable the last few minutes, I use the P word, procrastinate. I have no idea where you're going. I procrastinate and I shoot myself in the foot instead of stepping forward. So yes, things can be in our field, but manifestation may simply be the act of getting out of our own way. And so when that call comes in, when that road appears before us, to actually pick up the phone or drive down that road. That's actually a lot of the coaching work that I do with people, is helping people get out of their own way. I've needed help getting out of my own way so that we don't repeat patterns and keep ourselves stuck or keep ourselves in a place of smallness, a lack of greatness, because we allow our fear and our patterns to hold us back. That is a big piece of manifestation work too. So again, law of attraction, shoelaces. If you go, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, but your subconscious is going, you don't deserve $1 million, you shouldn't have $1 million, you're never going to get $1 million, then there's no chance. Instead, we have to let go of that and go, all right, what work do I need to do to let go of the idea that I'm not worthy of? Or in my case, I had to let go of the idea over the last year and a half that I didn't need assistance. So I had a book deal that didn't work so well on my first book. We had Barefoot Running and Barefoot Walking, which financially we did great, but then the books didn't take off and we were kind of wounded by that and saying, why'd we go with this book deal? What were we thinking? Blah, 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 blah. And then this time around, I'm going, I've got to self-publish. And that was hard or heavy. And so at some point I said, I probably get to have help. And I get to let go of what my mind says I have to do and simply allow. And simply allow that a phone call will come in, help some way or another. A ghostwriter, a regular writer, a publisher, a something will appear if I am open and willing or able to accept that assistance. Bless you.
So Susan wrote that the screen froze.
Is the screen still frozen?
She says it's better, but it doesn't sound like it's great. So maybe that's the reason for the decline in numbers.
Okay, I'll buy that. Better. All right. Well, let's take one last question from people.
I have to blow my nose.
After the Pookie takes care of some basic biological needs here, we will take one last question. Sammy, a few books on law of attraction and subconscious mind. The only one that's coming to mind for this minute there are several books by Mitch Horowitz that I'd recommend. One Simple Idea is one of them, and the
Miracle Club.
The Miracle Club is another, and okay, we're going to give him a third, which is it called A Definite Chief Aim? I believe is the third.
Yes.
So I would absolutely go after those books by Mitch Horowitz. He's an amazing author, historian, and his whole game is really reading all of these spiritual books and disseminating or getting down to the basic truths that exist in all of them. And I absolutely love his work.
We have our last question.
All right.
From The Forge.
All right, The Forge. Welcome back. Woo-hoo.
How come I feel if I talk about what I want, like Dan says, and tell the world it doesn't happen? If I keep it to myself and work on it, it does. Makes no sense. So now I'm telling the world my dream, and it better freaking happen.
I like that. There's something in the middle that was deleted, and it better freaking happen.
Oh, somebody else wrote something that got deleted.
The Forge, if it's meant to be, it will freaking happen. Put your emotion out there. Do you tell it to everybody? Mitch would say, only tell it to people who are going to support your dreams. Actually, maybe that's Michael would say, only tell it to people who would support your dream. Mitch is even more cautious than that because he doesn't want anybody getting into your head and messing with your confidence on it. And that's something I did a bike ride across the country a whole bunch of years ago. 5,000 miles. Didn't tell my folks about it. I was doing it solo on my own without telling them. Why? Because I love my dad so much that I'm supposed to do this bike ride. I'm supposed to do it. Hi, Dad. I'm going to do this bike ride. Oh, yeah. Click. oh, what was I thinking? I'm so stupid. I should never do this bike ride. Why did I even think about doing this bike ride? In other words, tell it to people who are going to support you or understand what you're doing. Don't tell it to naysayers who are going to drag you down or make you doubt yourself. We have enough voices going on in our head already, the Forge. Do you have anything that you want to add to that?
You do the opposite, though. You tell everybody.
Oh, at this point, okay, there has come a point at which the belief in myself is so strong that I just want to put it out there. That I know it's going to happen. There's a certainty we're going to have book after book after book after book after book. There's a certainty we are going to have a nationally and internationally syndicated TV show. So I will put it out there to the universe, and it helps bring it about, because even if somebody wrote right here, and I'm not suggesting that you do, Michael, there's no way you can do that. I know it's going to happen, unless something unforeseen, in which case it wasn't meant to be.
And that's something that you developed or cultivated from all the other times.
Yes.
Where you set this big goal and you actually achieved it.
Small goal achieved it, bigger goal achieved it,
right.
Bigger goal achieved it, scary big goal achieved it.
Despite all the naysayers in the past.
Yes.
I mean, people thought we were crazy when we first got together and we started writing a book on barefoot running.
Which was your idea.
No, it wasn't. It was everybody else's idea. Everybody kept coming up to us and saying, you guys should write a book. And then finally I was like, okay.
And here we are. Not talking about
easy.
Yeah. Oh my God. There was a lot of chopping wood and carrying water, and there was a lot of tears. So yes, persistence was definitely key. Maybe there was even too much persistence. Hard to say now.
Yeah, I think, educated persistence. You could definitely persist a long time in the wrong direction and wear yourself out and give up. So we've learned over the years to frequently ask for help.
Yeah, educated persistence, and I would say, what would be the word for it? I don't know I want to make up a word. Heartnated persistence, checking in with your heart, checking in again, checking in again, and checking in again.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got for this evening. Anything else that you want to share with people?
When you were just talking about the naysayers and how your parents used to be kind of naysayers, at this point, they'll believe.
They're like, woo, woo, woo.
They'll believe anything you say.
I have turned them away from the dark side.
They're really supportive.
I am living the dream, because they were the opposite of that in my early years in life, and I'm fortunate. One of the fortunate ones that I have made my parents so proud, and we don't all get that this lifetime.
They've impressed me with their positivity at different points.
Yes, so it's rubbing off. And Mom and Dad, if you're listening, I love you guys so much, and I can't believe you actually made it to this point in the show.
I love what Lori wrote. Turn on your heart light, because home's the most excellent place.
Woohoo!
Are those the song lyrics?
Turn on your heart light. Da, 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 the young boy's dream. I don't know if those are the words. That's all I know.
Oh, I thought it might be neat if you sang with the mic.
I would have to go. All right, keep talking for a second. Heart light lyrics.
Not currently my skill set.
Neil.
Talk about.
Yes, talk about something. Turn on your heart light in the middle of a young boy's dream. Don't wake me up too soon. Gonna take a ride across the moon. You and me. And I just went to some different lyrics. Can't you see? Ooh, I'm butchering this song better than you know. Better than you'll see. This is what it's about. Go to the energy. Don't worry about the naysayers. Don't worry about, well, What if John or Susie or somebody else says this, that, or the other? First off, you don't have to share with them. Secondly, unless they're in your skin, unless they're plugged into your heart, how could they possibly know? No one could know. Even the Pookie can't know exactly what's in my heart unless she's me. And I certainly can't know exactly what's in her heart unless I'm her. Which means, going back to automatic writing, have a process to tap into your heart and hear what it has to tell you and hear where it guides you to go. All right. Any last words of wisdom?
Lori says we should have the bear on next week too. I asked to clarify if she meant this bear or the real bear.
Now, I've got to say, if you want 1 million people on this show fast, we find a way to have the real bear on the show next week. Just to
We
have
still
bear
haven't cleaned up
round
from the first bear visit.
So should I turn the camera, or is that not? It might do weird, untoward things.
Nah.
But
Let's
yes,
just say that a lot of things are tipped over and there's soil all over the place.
there is. The deck has been soiled. But I don't think we regret it. That was the cutest bear in the world, and I'm glad that I gently scared it away. In my kind, gentle, easy good, it had what little of a bear tail it had between its legs and was heading for the hills. So, all right, we love you guys. I've got to go. I have a beautiful meeting.
Yeah, we can't do kitty cameos outside because they're inside kitties.
Oh, this is a good point. So we could do bear cameos. We can do bee cameos, but we can't do and even the Hummers, to get them to come over here on cue. They're behind us, but we'll figure this out. Each week we'll get a little bit better until it gets too cold to do this outside.
Well, I was thinking we could bundle up and we could go by the fire pit. Although I'm not sure about the Wi-Fi signal out there.
Who knows? We'll play an experiment. You were the one who had the vision.
Gather around the grill.
Gather around the grill. I'm afraid to turn that grill on. I can see that thing blowing up with all the chipmunks that have lived in it over the last year and a half. I'm not manifesting it, but we will figure it out. And it's because of you that we stepped forward. You had a vision for today, and you did it without efforting. You didn't sweat setting this up. You didn't freak out about setting this up. You just put a few things out here, and we'll see what happens.
The lighting is getting better as the sun's setting.
I wondered about that. Very, very cool. All right. We love you guys so much. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to click the notification button. Please come support us. Come on over to patreon.com/InspireNation. Become a Backstage Pass member. And if you want coaching, you better sign up yesterday for a free one-on-one session. And come to Instagram. We've got so much great stuff. Come on over to Instagram. Join the Instagrammy family. We love you guys so much. Shine bright.
And my Instagram username is Jessica Lee Sandler.
Oh, yes. We are competing. Between you and me, we're competing. What are we competing?
He has a head start. First, it's a 30-day challenge. We each have to post at least one post a day.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we're going to see who can grow their following fastest.
Ooh, I like it.
But he has a head start. I am catching up, though.
And I may have some professional assistance.
What? Jeez.
I know. So that's...
yeah, it's okay. You need the assistance. I'm nearly a millennial.
Wow. Wow.
Well, in some charts, I do count as a millennial.
So what are you saying about me?
I'm a bridge. I connect you to the millennials.
Oh, wow. We love you guys. So what are you going to be saying after my birthday next week?
You better stop acting your age.
I agree with that completely. All right.
Let's stop acting.
Yes, that stop acting your age. All right. People are still here. Do you have any last words you want to share? Because I've got to let everybody go and go get to a meeting.
No, I'm just typing my Instagram stuff.
Excellent. And that was a hummingbird you saw fly behind us. If you didn't catch, all sorts of birds have been behind us. Love you guys. Have an amazing week ahead. Join us next week. Subscribe. Click on that button there for notifications. Patron. InspireNation.com, show.com/coaching, and just love yourself up. Yes, I'm talking to you. Love yourself up like there's no tomorrow. When you love yourself up, everything gets easier. Shine bright. Love you guys.